Breaking Atlanta Falcons news, Falcons fans. According to Jordan Schultz and Ari Meirov, the Atlanta Falcons are moving off of former Pro Bowl special teamer KhaDarel Hodge, informing him that he will be released from the team. Hodge spent 4 years with the Falcons, including a Pro Bowl season in 2024. This, to me, by the way, guys, is official that roster cleanup is starting. Like, this is the first move that's going to happen. Now, do we see 5 or 6 other major roster cleanup decisions? No, probably not. Could we see another 1 to 2? Yeah, probably. And I'll touch on those on the back half of this video. But this signifies to me the Falcons are gearing up now to make sure they have enough available cap space after the franchise tag of Kyle Pitts to go out and make an aggressive push for one big-time name player in free agency. And by the way, speaking of which, Ian Cunningham and Matt Ryan are going to be sitting down in a room together at some point in the next week and a half and saying, what's our official plan? And if you think that they've done a good job so far with the franchise tagging of Kyle Pitts, prove it. Let me know by hitting that thumbs up icon. If you keep going with that and say they've made a great move getting rid of KhaDarel Hodge as well, subscribe to the channel and make sure that you never miss a time that we break any sort of Falcons news, because this is breaking news. So if you remember, back in October of this last year, I made a video. This was right before Halloween, if I'm getting my timeline correct. Correct me on the date if I'm wrong about this. But I had said in this video, what does KhaDarel Hodge do? Like, what is his role on this team this year? And a bunch of people got in the comment section. They were like, well, he's a Pro Bowl special teamer, Moose. What are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, he's a Pro Bowl special teamer that's not playing. He's not really doing anything. In fact, he really only got on the field a handful of time this year. He only played 73 snaps. Played 6% of the offensive snaps and 72% of special team snaps. So, granted, I get what his role was. I'm not arguing what his role is on this team. I know what he is, and I know he had a very special year in 2024 as a special teamer. He only had 9 tackles. He wasn't returning punts this year, my friends. What was he doing? You know what I mean? Like, where was his value for this team? And don't say it was, well, he was a good special teams player this last year. No, he wasn't. Falcons had the worst special teams in the league. This, to me, is clear what Matt Ryan, by the way, and Ian Cunningham are doing. They're adding more real depth at the wide receiver position. KhaDarel Hodge, even though he was a special teamer, was technically listed as a wide receiver. He only had 3 catches this year. So what Ryan and Cunningham are doing is they're taking a look at the wide receiver room as a whole, and they're saying, okay, where can we save some money? Where can we clear up some in cap space? And where can we just trim the fat? That's what this is. It's trimming the fat. They're going to be adding a wide receiver. I don't know if that's in free agency. I don't know if that's in the draft. I do know, though, they're gearing up to add another pass catcher in this wide receiver room. Speaking of cap savings, this saves the Falcons roughly $2.64 million. Not a ton of money, but just enough to give yourself a little bit more breathing room. Because remember, after you franchise tag Kyle Pitts, that's a direct cap hit. So that $15.8 million that you'd be paying Kyle Pitts, if you don't get a longer deal done, hopefully they get it done before free agency starts, but I don't see that happening, by March 9th of this upcoming season. You have to take that direct cap hit head on. So now the Falcons really only have, after this KhaDarel Hodge move, about $13 million in available cap. Now remember, everything is fluid when it comes to cap numbers. They're always changing, constantly. Every time you make a roster move, it gets completely changed and the numbers start to swing. So don't look at the $13 million as a number that we're stuck with. We're not. Plenty of other moves can dictate the ebbs and flows of our available cap. So you be the judge real quick. Do you agree on the Atlanta Falcons' decision to release Hodge? Look, I'm never going to call a man out of his name. I'm never going to say that, sayonara, don't let the door hit you on the way out because you suck or whatever like that. But football's a business, and this was a smart and savvy business decision. The value that you were getting for KhaDarel Hodge based off of what you were paying him just wasn't equating. They were incongruous with each other. So I do think it's the right move. Now, coming up next, other cut candidates coming soon. Who are those two players? Well, believe it or not, I think one of them I've been on for quite some time, and the other one also makes a lot of sense to me. But before we get on to those names, my friends, Harry's. Let me tell you about them. They're the sponsor of today's video. I personally trust Harry's with my grooming essentials every single day. If you go to Moose's house right now and you look at his bathroom, all Harry's products. And let me tell you something. I'll tell you why I go with Harry's. Because if my old razor was dulling too quickly, if it was irritating my neck, and if it was way too expensive, check. Harry's eliminates all of that. Harry's Plus is Harry's heaviest razor handle ever, made from metal, never plastic. Designed to fit comfortably in your hand. That heavier handle means more control and a luxe feel, but they don't just make razors. They've got a full line of grooming essentials, from shave gel to deodorant to body wash, all thoughtfully made and priced up to stock. All of Harry's blades and grooming products can be delivered right to your door, so set your preferred schedule and never run out of blades again. For a limited time, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. This set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, one refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head on over to harrys.com/chat to claim this offer, and after you purchase, they're going to say, hey, where'd you hear about us? Please support our show, and let them know that Moose from Falcons Today sent you. By the way, just a quick little sidebar here. I do expect with the release of KhaDarel Hodge that we'd be going after more dual-purpose players. That doesn't necessarily mean a wide receiver, but think about all the special teams players you can add. You can be a special teams player even if your specialty is wide receiver or if your special team is linebacker. Essentially, you can add a special teams player everywhere. So I'm sure that Ian Cunningham and Matt Ryan are looking at rounding out the 53 as, where can we add players that are just good football players, right? Blocking, tackling, speed, just football basics 101. That's what you need to get back to, are these players that have more than just one specialty, dual role players. A great way to integrate, by the way, your young draft picks is to load them up on special teams. You see it all the time. Hey, we're going to give you a couple of snaps here. Your snap package is going to be 10 to 15 plays every single game, but you're going to spend most of your time on special teams. All right, now let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the other cut candidates. First one, obviously, we've talked about it nonstop, Darnell Mooney. You guys know where I stand. I'm not going to beat a dead horse anymore about Darnell Mooney and what he brings to the Falcons wide receiver room. I thought he had an excellent year in 2024, and then 2025 was plagued by injuries. And with the injuries, hurting him, his value dipped. And look, I'm not going to lie to you. The cap savings is way too high to keep Darnell Mooney. So Ian Cunningham also came out and said that the Falcons are going to make a decision on Darnell Mooney very shortly. This was yesterday that he made this statement. So I believe when he's saying we're going to be making a decision on him shortly, my guess is they either are going to come to him and say, look, is there any way that you would lower your amounts? We restructure a deal, a brand new deal. And my guess is he says no. And then they say, okay, then we're releasing. Or they've already made up their mind on it, and they're just going to say it's going to be a post-June 1st release. But going back to Darnell Mooney's on-the-field productivity this last year, guys, it wasn't good. 25 receptions, 364 yards. He only found the end zone once. I get it. Injuries, 5 drops. It was just a bad year for him. No ifs, ands, or buts around it. It was a bad year for him. And not all of it is his fault. Some of it is his fault. But the cut likelihood, in my opinion, for this is 80%. I think this is more than likely going to happen. $12 million in available cap, my friends, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. All right, the second guy on this cut candidate list is Clark Phillips. And it's not a name that we've touched on too much on the channel here, mostly because he didn't really play in 2025. That was just like a handful of snaps against the Washington Commanders is all I remember seeing him on. And then I went and did my homework, fact-checked it, and sure shit, it was like 6 plays against the Commanders, all on special teams. So Clark Phillips, obviously another player riddled with injuries the entire year. Got sent to IR for a triceps injury. Another player just completely decimated by the injury bug. But Sports Talk Atlanta also agrees with me. He is a cut candidate. They said, drafted in the 3rd round of the 2023 NFL Draft, Clark Phillips has struggled to carve out a consistent role on the Falcons' defense, despite cornerback being a weak spot. It's not so weak anymore. He appeared in just 1 game last season, logging a few special team snaps against the Commanders before being placed on IR with a triceps injury. With a new regime in place, the Falcons could take the $3.6 million in cap savings that they would gain by cutting him, and they would just kind of move on and see an entire overhaul in the secondary with fresh blood this offseason, meaning the draft. That's what I think. And look, even a guy like Mike Hughes right now is a far better player than Clark Phillips, in my opinion. I think I would take Hughes starting any day and twice on Sunday over Clark Phillips. But you got A.J. Terrell, you got Billy Bowman coming back after he's nursing off his injury as well. You've got so much depth. Now you've got Kobe Bryant. You've got D. Alford that played better this year. There's so much corner talent now for the Falcons and depth at that position that Clark Phillips, if you're not on the field, my friend, you're going to be off of it. So the cut likelihood, in my opinion, here is about 65%. I think more than likely it happens, but I could see a world in which if D. Alford moves on from the Falcons, like if he decides to take off in free agency, then maybe they discuss having Clark Phillips be in the D. Alford type role last year, which is that rotational corner, but I don't see it happening. If you had to name the next player that is going to be cut by the Dirty Birds, Kevin Stefanski, Matt Ryan, and Ian Cunningham, let me know down in the comment section down below. By the way, the question still stands. If you think the front office has done a good job so far, hit that thumbs up icon. If you think they're going to make even better moves moving forward, hit that subscribe button, because every time they do, we'll make a video on it. More videos, more subscribers. Simple math. That's all I got for you on this episode. I'll be back later today with more combine stuff coming your way as we get more defensive stuff coming out from our Chat Sports crew at Lucas Oil Stadium. As always, rise up and be cool.